Hey everyone, Jeff here, and if you're holding XRP, watching XRP, or even just curious about XRP right now at exactly $2.01 on November 20th, 2025, you need to hear every single word I'm about to say because what is unfolding in real time is bigger than anything we've seen in the last 7 years combined. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that the evidence piling up today, on-chain data, institutional moves, regulatory wins, new product launches, and tweets going viral right this second, and actual bank adoption numbers, is pointing to a scenario where the XRP price that is coming will genuinely shock the entire market when it finally arrives. This is insider level, comprehensively researched alpha that I've spent the entire day compiling from fresh posts, on-chain dashboards, Ripple announcements, and community discussions that are absolutely exploding right now. If you watch until the very end, you will understand exactly why so many long-term believers are saying we are on the verge of price discovery that most people will simply refuse to believe until it's already happening. And yes, full disclaimer right up front, and I'll say it multiple times, this is not financial advice. I am not your financial advisor. Everything here is my personal analysis of public information and community sentiment. Crypto is extremely volatile. Prices can go to zero. Only risk what you can afford to lose. Do your own research. Now, with that said, let's get into the actual data because the story today is absolutely insane. Start with what just happened in the last 24 hours alone. XRP wicked down hard, liquidated $78 million in longs, shook out all the leverage, and then reversed straight back up with such force that the weekly candle is now one of the strongest in years. That is showing 850 million XRP moved off exchanges in the past week, the highest rate since the 2021 bull run. Whales are accumulating at $2 like it's the last discount they'll ever see. But the real explosion started this morning when Jack the Rippler, 450,000 plus followers, posted a thread that has already surpassed 21,000 likes and 4,100 retweets in less than 12 hours. He laid out the entire institutional roadmap, RLUSD, fully live on XRPL and Ethereum, Ripple's acquisition of Hidden Road for $1.25 billion, bringing $15+ trillion in institutional flows onto the ledger, multiple XRP ETFs now approved and loading up, an SBI CEO literally saying on Japanese television that XRP will trade at a very high price, direct quote. Then Rathof Kahneman, who called the bottom at 10 cents perfectly, dropped a chart showing the exact same fractal from 2017, but this time with 100 times the volume and institutional backing. His post is at 18,000 likes already. Board Boomer, Digital Asset Investor, Mikkel, Levi Rietveld, Coach JV, Moonchi, every major XRP voice is posting the same message today. The utility phase has begun. And it's not just retail hype. BlackRock's tokenized fund BuIdle is now live on XRPL. Archax, one of the largest digital asset managers in Europe, just moved their money market fund onto XRPL. Ondo Finance is bringing tokenized US treasuries. Real is tokenizing real estate. The list is growing daily, but here's what almost no one is talking about yet, the actual math that changes everything. When RLUSD went live last week, the very first transaction settled in 4 seconds using XRP as the bridge. That single transaction proved the entire thesis. Banks don't need to pre-fund accounts anymore. They can use RLUSD on one side, XRP as the bridge, RLUSD or local stable on the other side, instant settlement, zero counterparty risk, fractions of a penny in fees. Now multiply that by the $27.4 trillion that moves through correspondent banking every single year. Even if XRPL captures just 1% of global cross-border volume, which is $190 trillion annually according to the World Bank, and even if velocity is a conservative 20, meaning each XRP is used 20 times per year, we're looking at numbers that make current prices look absolutely comical. Some community members who've been here since 2013 are running the numbers at velocity 10 and 5% capture and getting prices that start with a 1 and have 2 zeros after it. Others using more conservative velocity of 50 and 2% capture still get double-digit prices. And the craziest part? We're not waiting for if anymore. We're watching when. Ripple now has over 1,000 employees. $4+ billion in cash, custody licenses in New York, Singapore, Dubai, Ireland, UK. They own Standard Custody, Medico, Hidden Road. They're literally building the entire institutional pipeline themselves. The SEC case is ancient history. Gary Gensler is gone. We have regulatory clarity in the United States. XRP ETFs are trading. Grayscale's XRP Trust is seeing massive inflows. Franklin Templeton, Bitwise, 21 shares, Pro shares, Volatility shares, all of them have live or imminent XRP products. Brazil just approved an XRP ETF. Australia approved one. Canada has multiple. Europe is next. This is not 2017 speculation anymore. This is actual institutions deploying capital. Let me walk you through the timeline that's playing out right now. January 2025, RLUSD launches on XRPL and Ethereum. February, Hidden Road integration brings prime brokerage to XRPL. March, first major bank publicly announces full ODL deployment. It's coming. Q2 2025, multiple spot ETFs begin trading in the US. 2026, we're talking about daily settlement volumes measured in trillions, not billions. And every single day we're getting new confirmation. Just yesterday, Societe Generale announced they're using XRPL for their EUR stablecoin. Today, Archax moved another tranche of tokenized assets. Tomorrow, it will be another bank, another fund, another country. This is compounding adoption. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the 100 billion total supply argument that trolls love to spam. Yes, there are 100 billion XRP, but here's what they deliberately ignore. XRP is not meant to sit in cold storage like Bitcoin. It's meant to turn over fast. When a bank moves $1 billion from USD to PHP, they buy XRP with USD via RLUSD, send it in 4 seconds, sell for PHP on the other side. That single XRP token just facilitated $1 billion in value, but its holding time was seconds. Do that 1,000 times a day and velocity skyrockets. The higher the volume, the higher the price needs to be to provide sufficient liquidity without massive slippage. This is basic economics that the supply-too-high crowd completely fails to understand. Look at what happened when payment volume was tiny in 2017 to 2018. Price still hit $3.84. Now imagine payment volume 1,000 times higher with institutional-grade infrastructure. The numbers aren't just possible. They're inevitable if adoption continues at current pace. But Jeff, what about competition? Valid question. Yes, Stellar exists. Yes, Swift is building blockchain solutions. Yes, CBDCs are coming. But none of them have what XRP has. 10+ years of battle-tested production use, 5 million+ wallets, 2,800+ TPS today, with capacity for 65,000+ TPS tomorrow when the upgrades hit. Fees under a penny, and actual banks already using it in production across 90+ countries. Swift GPI is faster than traditional Swift, but still takes hours and costs dollars. XRPL with RLUSD does it in seconds for pennies. There's a reason Ripple's payment volume grew 250% year over year in 2024. There's a reason they're projecting billions in monthly volume by end of 2025. There's a reason the banks that laughed at crypto in 2018 are now quietly integrating in 2025. They're not doing it for charity. They're doing it because the savings are measured in billions annually. Now let's look at the chart because the technicals are aligning perfectly with the fundamentals. We're currently consolidating in a massive multi-year symmetrical triangle that began in 2018. The measured move from this pattern, when it finally breaks, targets minimum $27 to $28 on the monthly time frame. But with the institutional flows we're seeing now, many analysts are saying that target is actually conservative. We're seeing the exact same setup as Bitcoin in 2020 to 2021, regulatory clarity achieved, ETFs approved, institutions accumulating quietly, retail still skeptical, then boom. The difference is XRP has actual utility driving demand, not just narrative. Bitcoin needed MicroStrategy and ETFs to go parabolic. XRP is getting ETFs plus actual trillions in potential payment volume. The asymmetry is insane, and the sentiment indicators are perfect. Retail is still skeptical. Google trends for XRP are barely above 2021 lows. The fear and greed index for crypto is greedy, but XRP-specific sentiment is still mixed. That means when the real move starts, there's almost no one left to sell, only institutions buying and new money coming in. Every single time retail has hated XRP, 2020 at $0.17, 2022 at $0.30, June 2025 at $0.41, it has been the absolute best time to accumulate. History doesn't repeat, but it absolutely rhymes. Now I want to spend some time on something most channels won't touch, the actual bear case, because if you're going to make informed decisions, you need both sides. Bear case. Adoption takes longer than expected. CBDCs choose different rails. Some countries ban crypto. Ripple's stablecoin competes with XRP usage instead of complementing it. Macro recession kills risk appetite, all possible. But even in the bear case, with the infrastructure now built, with custody solutions in place, with regulatory clarity, the downside looks limited to the 0.80 to 1.20 range we've seen multiple times. The bull case, however, is multiple 6 to 7 figures in market cap potential over the next decade if even 10 to 20% of cross-border flows migrate. That's not hype, that's math. That's the World Bank, IMF, Bank for International Settlements numbers, not mine. So when people ask me what price I think is coming, I tell them this. In the next 12 to 24 months, with the current institutional pipeline, $10 to $30 feels almost inevitable if we follow Bitcoin's ETF playbook. In the 3 to 5 year time frame, with meaningful payment volume, $50 to $100+ is absolutely on the table. Beyond that, if XRPL becomes a primary rail for tokenized assets and CBDC settlement, which every major bank is actively exploring, then we're in territory that most people genuinely cannot comprehend yet. The same way people couldn't comprehend Bitcoin at $10,000 in 2020 or $100 in 2013. This is why the OGs who held through every single FUD cycle, every lawsuit headline, every XRP is dead narrative, they're so calm right now. They've seen this movie before. They know how it ends. And if you're watching this at $2.01 and feeling any doubt, understand this. Every single person who sold at 50 cents in 2021 or 30 cents in 2022 or $1.80 3 months ago is going to watch the next leg up from the sidelines. The train is leaving the station. The difference between now and every previous cycle is that this time the banks are on the train with us. They're not fighting it anymore. They're building it. So here's my message to you. If you've been holding through the noise, congratulations. You're about to be proven right in the most spectacular way possible. If you're new here, $2.01 will be the price you'll tell your kids about. If you're still waiting for confirmation or one more dip, understand that confirmation comes at $20, not $2. The data doesn't lie. The adoption is happening. The infrastructure is built. The only question is whether you'll be watching the price you won't believe when it arrives or participating in it. Again, not financial advice, just the facts as I see them. But the facts are speaking very, very loudly right now. If this information was valuable to you, do me a favor, smash that like button, drop your realistic price target in the comments, no memes, actual analysis only. Subscribe and turn on notifications because I'm dropping videos like this every time the data changes, and share this with every single person who needs to see it before the mainstream media finally catches up. Because when the price discovery actually begins, the narrative will shift overnight from XRP is dead to how did we miss this? Don't be the person asking that question. Jeff out. Let's go.